Hey guys, it's Ginny, and this is the long-awaited and much suggested packing tips video. So I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to filming and posting this. I just wanted to, this is one of those videos that you kind of have to prepare ahead of time, and since I've been really busy, I didn't have time to do that. So I did prepare ahead of time what I want to tell you guys about. If I forgot anything and I remember it after, it will be in the description box below, so make sure you check down there just in case there's any additional tips that I didn't cover in the video for you guys. So to get started, I'm just going to talk about what kind of baggage you should bring or what I brought. So I'll try and tell you guys about my experience, which may not necessarily be the exact thing that's right for you to do, but just so you have an idea. So for my baggage, I will insert some pictures here. I don't know if I have really good pictures, but I basically had one really big suitcase which had 4 wheels and could roll in like all directions, and another really big suitcase which only had 2 wheels and just rolled like back and forth. And I would recommend having the ones with the 4 wheels, because at least one of them 4 wheels, because if you have 2 that can only go like straight, then you have to use both hands like behind you dragging them, and it's really hard to navigate them. So if you have one with 4 wheels, you can push it in front of you, and you can put other stuff on front of it, because it doesn't have to be tilted to like to roll it. You can roll it like flat, so you can put other bags on top of it. So I had those 2 big suitcases, which in the pictures that I will show you, they are the black one with pink polka dots and then a pink flowered one. And then I also had a backpack as my carry-on item, and I put my laptop in there and just a bunch of stuff. And I brought a large purse as well. So I would recommend, for girls at least. For guys, you could bring like a you could use, my sister just flew to Virginia, and she did this time. She only wanted to bring carry-ons because she didn't want to pay for a check bag. So she brought her backpack as her personal item, and just, you know, said it was her laptop case, because it is, but like it's one with those laptop slot in it. And so she put her laptop in there, and then she also brought an actual carry-on suitcase. So you could do that for guys who don't want to have a purse, like, or if you want to have, that's probably more room than a big purse and a backpack. I use the backpack as my carry-on, and then a big purse also as my personal item, but you could do either way. So that is what I brought. And so on the plane, I put the backpack in the overhead compartment, and then had my purse under the seat with me, and had all my stuff that I needed for the flight in there. So that is the logistics as far as what size items I brought with me. Make sure before you go to the airport that you're going to weigh your bags. And I think most major airlines, for a checked bag, it's 23 kilograms or 50 pounds about. It really depends who's weighing it, because sometimes they might be a little more flexible. Like if you're 1 pound over, they might not care. What I would recommend is, if you think you're like pushing it, if you think it's too heavy, have like a parent or a friend go with you to the airport when you check your bag. And if they tell you it's too heavy, you could have like, what I have done is have like a section in my suitcase, or like a little bag within my suitcase that's stuff that I don't really need as much, so you could take it out and give it to your friend or a parent to take back home, or mail it to you or something. Or if you have room in your carry-on, you can put it into your carry-on. So that's another thing. If you're worried about the weight limit, put a lot of the heavy stuff in your carry-on, because while technically there are weight limits on carry-ons, I have never had anybody weigh my carry-on in all the times that I've flown. So I would be really surprised if they did weigh your carry-on if you're flying with any major airline. So if you put heavy stuff in your carry-on, it might be kind of a pain to carry, but you'll be able to get all of your stuff to where you're going. So that is a good option. Another thing you guys might have heard in packing tip videos is to roll your clothes, and it really does work. If you do it right, you can fit so much more stuff. Again, it's not super helpful when you consider weight. Like, if you have a really giant suitcase and you roll all your clothes and you pack it full of clothes, it's going to be too heavy. But it's helpful for your putting stuff into your carry-on and things like that. So if you roll them, they really take up less space, and they don't get like crease marks too. They can get wrinkly still, but they don't get like crease marks like when you fold stuff. All right, last tip for logistics is, like, If you have to bring liquids with you, when I went over, I brought a couple bottles of Michigan wine to give to my friends as gifts in France, and obviously those are too big to go in your carry-on. So what I did is I put them into plastic bags first of all, and made sure those were secured in case it did break, so that it wouldn't leak all over all my stuff. And then if you pack it in between layers of clothes, it's usually good. I've packed a lot of breakable things between clothes, and I've never had anything break. The only time I had something break in my luggage was the first time I flew internationally. I had an alarm clock, and I just didn't think about the fact that the face of it had glass in front of it. And I didn't even try to protect it, and it shattered, so I had glass all in my suitcase. But other than that, pretty much every time that I travel internationally, I have fragile stuff packed between clothes, and I've never had it break, including wine bottles on several occasions, and beer bottles. So, and if you're gonna have some things that you need to carry with you, but like, if you have liquids, just even if they're smaller, you can just put them in your checked bag, because then you don't have to take them out for security and stuff. All right, so moving on as to like what type of things you should pack. This is for a year living in France for the TAPIF program. So for those of you who are watching this for other purposes, I don't know, just for like plain old packing tips, some of these are not going to be relevant for you, but this is in relation to the TAPIF teaching program. So what to pack, obviously the first thing you're going to think about is clothes, because you need to wear clothes. When I was teaching, it was a lot more casual than I thought it would, actually. I thought that the teachers in France actually dressed almost more casually than teachers in the U.S. in high schools. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I haven't been in high school for a while, but it was very like casual. A lot of teachers wore jeans, and then, not like jeans and a t-shirt, but jeans and a nicer top or whatever. So kind of like very casual business, like. So that's the kind of things that they're wearing. Obviously, you could really wear what you want. Like, there wasn't anyone that ever told me a dress code or anything. If you wanted to be super fancy, you could. I always kind of felt like I was like overdressed compared to everyone else, because I wear a lot of dresses and skirts, and like all the teachers wear pants. So, yeah. And you also might want to think about, you're living with a limited wardrobe, so especially for girls, that can be hard. So when you're shopping for like clothes to teach in, think about things that can double for like going out and for teaching. So maybe just like a plain black top and jeans, I don't know. So just think about how many different things you could use clothes for when you're packing. Make sure you have good shoes. This is really important, because most of us in America live a really sedentary lifestyle compared to France. And in France, you're going to probably walk a lot. You're probably not going to have a car while you're living there. And yeah, so you're going to be walking a lot, and you want way better shoes than you use in America. Like, I wear sandals and flip-flops all the time here, but just the amount of walking is so much more walking. So make sure you bring good, comfy shoes, and it's worth it to spend a little more money to invest in shoes that aren't going to break down, because you will walk a lot and you will wear out your shoes probably. Make sure you look up the appropriate weather. So know what region you're going to live in, what region of France. If you're in like the south of France, you probably don't need very many warm clothes. If you're in the north of France, like in the mountains or whatever, you probably don't need as many like clothes for summer. But keep in mind, if you want to travel while you're there, don't be stupid like me. So when I packed, I knew I would be coming home for Christmas, so I didn't bring my winter coat, because I knew it wouldn't get quite that cold in Brittany before I was going to be coming home. And so I didn't bring my winter coat, and I was like, okay, I'll get that when I go home for Christmas, because it was so big. I didn't want to take up a bunch of space in my suitcase. And that's another thing I should mention is when you're flying, you should wear those things. So even though it's going to be like September when you leave, if you need to bring a winter coat with you, just wear it on the plane, and then you can take it off and put it in the overhead bin. People might think you're crazy, but, whatever. You can just, they can't tell you can't wear a coat because it's summertime when you left. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I didn't bring the coat with me, and I forgot that I was going to be going to Sweden in October. So when I went to Sweden, I was really worried that I was going to be freezing cold, but luckily the week that I went happened to be really warm for that time of year in Sweden. It was like in the 50s, and which is not super warm, but for me that's warm enough to wear like a hoodie and a sweater. So I just did that. But yeah, as I was like on the flight, I was like, oh, what if I'm freezing and I have to buy a coat or something? So make sure you think about your vacation plans, because you might not necessarily only be in the area where you're going to be teaching. I know a lot of people who do TAPIF really want to travel and explore Europe while you're there, because it's so much cheaper than going back home and then going back to Europe to travel. So yeah, keep that in mind. Let's see. As far as like toiletries and stuff, I would definitely bring a toothbrush with you, because especially if you're going to be staying in Paris or something for a few days before you go to the place where you're living, you're going to want to have that like when you arrive, not have to go buy it. One thing I would say about toothbrushes is don't bring an electric toothbrush. The first time I lived in France, I brought my electric toothbrush with me, and it did not hold a charge. Like, it worked for the first like 2 weeks, and then the battery died in it, and then I couldn't get it to charge again. So the voltage or whatever, the electric currents are just different. So I don't know, maybe some of them would work, but if you really want, if you're one of the people that like needs an electric toothbrush, I would just recommend buying one there, even though they're kind of expensive, but just to ensure that it's going to work. You could always bring yours with you, and if it doesn't work, bring it home, I guess, but it's kind of a waste of space if it's not going to work. And as far as shampoo and things, I would recommend bringing like a travel size with you, just so you have enough for the first couple days, because you can buy shampoo there and all that stuff. You don't need it to take up room in your luggage. I know some people are really particular about shampoo. I guess if you have like really, I don't know, if you have really particular hair or something, then I mean that's your choice, but I would recommend just buying it there. Obviously tons of people live in France and use the shampoo that's available there, and they survive. So that's what I would recommend doing. Yeah, if you have any specific products that you really can't live without, I would try and look them up online and see if they're available in France, and if you can find out for sure that they're available, then you don't need to worry about it. If you can't find out, then I don't know, if you think it's that important for you, then bring it with you. And makeup is one more thing I want to mention. That is one of the things that I regretted bringing, was too much makeup, because I wear makeup fairly often here, but first of all, I didn't have a good mirror in the apartment where I was living, so I didn't do my makeup that much, just because I didn't have like a good place to do it. And I brought too much variety. Like, I didn't need a ton of different makeup. I would just bring the basics. You could always buy makeup in France too. It's more expensive, I think, but I mean, it depends what kind of makeup you buy. You could buy makeup there. So I would just bring basics like your concealer, foundation, eyeliner, mascara, maybe a couple of favorite lip colors or whatever. Oh yeah, when you're packing your clothes too, keep in mind, like, if you like to shop and you're looking forward to going shopping in France, maybe you don't need to bring so many clothes, because you might want to buy a bunch of clothes when you get there, and then you won't have room in your suitcase to bring everything back home. So keep that in mind too when you're packing your clothes, that you might want to go shopping when you get there. And okay, as far as medications, I actually did a video about this specific topic, and I will link that in the description for you so you can check it out. And I would recommend, obviously, if you have any prescriptions, you need to bring those with you, and you need to get them filled for the entire time that you're going to be there before you leave. Or you can, there's a certain way where you can like get your doctor to write out your prescriptions for you, and then you go to the doctor in France and they'll get them set up for you. And I don't know all the details on that because I haven't done it, but I do know it's possible because my roommate I lived with the first time I lived in France, he did that. So if anyone is like really interested in that, leave a comment below about how to do prescription stuff, and I will ask him about it and do a video about it, and maybe have him in the video if he wants to be. I don't know. I haven't mentioned that to him, but if you guys are interested in learning about how to transfer your prescriptions to your French doctor and pharmacy, comment that below, and I will make a video about it. And then, yeah, I would bring like the things that you keep on hand in your home. Like, I brought cough syrup. When I get a sore throat, I really like to have cough syrup because it's like immediate relief. And cough syrup, ibuprofen, and what else did I bring? I brought Band-Aids, but that wasn't really necessary. Like, you can buy that there. But a lot of things, you have to, it's harder. Medications are different in France, so some things you can't get without like without a doctor prescribing them or without talking to a pharmacist. So I guess it depends. Like things like aspirin, you don't have to have a prescription for aspirin, but you have to ask the pharmacist for it. You can't just walk in the store, pick it up, and buy it like you can in the US. So if that makes you nervous or intimidated to think about having to go ask somebody for aspirin, then maybe just bring some with you. I don't know. I brought some with me just because I like to have it on hand. I don't like to wait till I need it and then have to go out and buy it when I feel like crap. Sorry, my dog's whining back there. Lady, what's wrong? What's wrong? I don't know if you guys can see her. I don't know what she's whining about. I think she can hear my mom talking outside. Anyway, so I would just bring like the things you keep on hand for if in case you get sick, because those are nice to have when you get sick, not after you get sick. So yeah. And then as far as like sentimental things and trinkety things, I would really try and limit yourself. Photos are a good thing to bring because they don't take up a lot of space and they're really nice to decorate with. So I printed out a bunch of pictures before I left of my family and friends and pets and put them up on my walls. And yeah, I would limit the trinkets and things because they take up a lot of space. If you have anything that's really important to you, like, you know, something your grandma gave you that's like really special or anything like that, I would recommend maybe not bringing it and leaving it at home somewhere safe, because your luggage can get lost and it happens and you never know what would happen to it. So if you have something that's super, super important to you, it might be better to leave it at home unless you don't have anywhere to leave it. So that's what I would recommend. And as far as like teaching stuff, I also did a video on this, I believe. At least I plan to. I think I did. And I wouldn't bother bringing like folders and notebooks and pencils and all that stuff because that stuff exists in France. So you can buy it there. I would bring a laptop because it's really helpful for lesson planning at home. Lady, stop barking. I'm trying to talk. It's really helpful for lesson planning and for looking things up and stuff, because when you're at home. And then I would bring a flash drive, and I will link to that video that I made if I did it. I believe I did. So you guys can look for that in the description box below. Also, traveling stuff, make sure you bring a converter for your laptop and any other things that you're going to bring. Like, I don't know. I don't use a hair dryer and straightener and stuff like that because I don't care about my hair. So I don't know about that stuff. But if you're going to bring that, make sure you bring a converter. Make sure you get a good one. The one I have, I would show you, but I don't know where it is right now. It's got all the different converters for the whole world, and it's collapsible. So, like, it's a big white thing, and you can push them in and out. I feel like I might have shown you guys that in another video, but I don't know. And a camera is something that takes pictures, your phone, whatever. I mean, that's up to you if you don't want that stuff. So someone had asked me specifically what things I regretted bringing and what things I wish I brought with me. This last time I packed really light because the first time I went to France, I packed a lot of clothes that I didn't end up wearing and a lot of sentimental things I didn't need. So I kind of learned my lesson the first time around that I brought too much stuff, because when I was packing to come home, I had to throw away a bunch of stuff. So as far as regrets, the only things I really regretted bringing with me was the too much makeup, like I mentioned, and a blazer that I had bought. So I had been like thinking, I don't know, I was going to be teaching and I would want like this little blazer jacket. And it's just not something I would normally wear. And since it's not my style or my thing, I never wore it. So it just sat in my closet and took up space. But it was kind of expensive, so I didn't want to leave it there. So I brought it home and still never wore it. So I don't know. I mean, when you're buying clothes, don't buy things that aren't you, that you're not going to wear, I guess. But I don't know. That's just me. And as far as things I wish I brought, I mentioned the winter coat. I wish I brought that earlier. So keep in mind where you're going to be traveling. If you're going to live somewhere cold, but you're traveling to like south of France for a vacation, bring your swimsuit, like things like that. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't mention. Bring your swimsuit. And American currency. I wish I brought American currency because it, like, not a lot, but to show my students, because they were really interested in that. I had a little bit, but I didn't have like all the different coins and stuff. So, and oh, one thing I was gonna say too. One thing, I had different coins, but I thought it would be really interesting to show them the like 50 state coins, and I didn't have any of those, so that's a good idea to bring the different like 50 states coins. And one more thing I wished I brought was a nicer long dress. And this might not be applicable to everyone watching, but when I went to visit my friend in Sweden, it happened to be at the time of like the 400th anniversary of the university she went to, and they had a big ball that was like formal dress, and I didn't have anything to wear, so I couldn't go, and it was in the castle, and I was so bummed that I couldn't go, because that would have been really awesome to go in the castle, which is, you know, for a big party. So yeah. Anything else that I would recommend? If you're packing fragile stuff, another thing I recommend, I should have talked about this earlier, I don't know why it's a no at the end of my notes. If you have something really fragile, put it in like a Tupperware dish and then surround it with clothes, because that's a hard structure, and put like tissue in there. It's not going to get broken. It'd be really rare. And I also read recently that even if your luggage is not fragile, if you put a sticker on it that says fragile, they'll handle it more carefully, like naturally. And a lot of times they'll put it like on top of all the luggage because it's fragile, and then it will be the first one unloaded when you're waiting for your luggage. So you can try that. I have recently saw something that was like travel tips online with like, you know, one of those lists with all the pictures. If I can find it again, I'll link it in the description, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it. Alright, this video is super long, so I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the description box, not in the description box, in the comments below, and let me know if you're interested in having the video about the prescription stuff. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the links below to the other videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.